games to win.
He got it to go!
3 weekends to advance.
Spin and slams it home!
And for the one team left standing, a national championship.
Turn the lights off, say goodnight. That's going to do it.
Join us this Saturday. It's Kansas versus Arkansas on your home for Kansas Jayhawk basketball. The Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
The Scheels Spring Hunting Sale event is happening now through March 26th. Scheels has the best selection around, from dusting clays to chasing longbeards or dialing in on the range. There's something for everyone. Save on top brands like Vortex, Winchester, Benelli, Sig Sauer, Seekins Precision, and more. Shop our full selection of brands and styles in-store and online at Scheels.com. Spring is here. Are you ready?
ICON is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Volunteers must be available for 3 stays totaling 18 nights and 8 outpatient visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $19,450 for time and travel. Call ICON today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
About 30 seconds.
Sports Talk powered by fans. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. The power of sports.
Jayhawk fans, this is Bill Self. If a sports injury puts you on the bench, turn to the Sports Medicine and Performance Center at the University of Kansas Health System. Whether it's your back, knee, hip, shoulder, or even a concussion, you can see the same experts that care for the Jayhawks. Request an appointment at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. I'm Scott Traylor. He's Kirk Elliott. We're the Racing Boys. Todd Surprise not helping us today. Deidre working in the studio today for us, as our old boy's a little sick today, isn't he?
Yeah, just feeling just a little bit under the weather this morning. Todd, we wish you well.
Yep.
Come back soon.
No doubt.
So, not a lot of racing to talk about this weekend, Scott. Weather is bad all over the country.
It is terrible everywhere, and we've got some sound that we're going to run for you from Mostly Motorsports that we did on Monday. We're going to play an interview from Carson Macedo.
That interview's actually brand new. Nobody's heard that one yet.
Right, no doubt.
So a couple of days ago, we spoke with Carson Macedo, one of the stars of the World of Outlaws, and you'll be hearing him for the first time. So a rare moment that it's not a replay from Mostly Motorsports. This is original just for Track Talk.
Right.
This morning.
And Lee Spencer, we'll talk about what's going on in NASCAR. Kirk, it all came down. Rick Hendrick getting a lot of fines right now. What do you think about that?
This is a big one, Scott. It affects all 4 of the Hendrick teams with those hood louvers that we spoke about a week ago. What happened was they confiscated some hood louvers. I'm not exactly sure what that is, Scott.
Right.
You know more about that than I do with this next-gen car. There's a lot of parts and pieces on here we're not quite used to, but it has to do with...
The problem is, Kirk, is that these parts become their factory parts, and you're not supposed to mess with them.
No.
And they did, to make them fit on the cars. And that ended up costing them 100 points and 10 playoff points. And 5 crew chiefs not going to be working on the pit box. What do you think about that?
For the next 4 weeks.
How about
this
that?
is going to happen. So all 4 of the crew chiefs for all 4 of the Hendrick cars are going to be out for the next 4 weeks. $100,000 fine. And there are 100-point deductions for each team.
Right.
Plus 10 playoff points for each team. Yep. What does this mean? I think at the end of the day, Hendrick can still win the championship when it's all said and done, but it is a setback. There's no question about it. You got William Byron, who's coming off 2 straight wins at Las Vegas and Phoenix. Rudy Fugle, the crew chief that's made these famous calls for 2-tire pit stops at Las Vegas and Phoenix, not on the pit box this weekend in Atlanta, and he's the defending winner of this race.
Right.
William Byron. So I think in the short term, yeah, it's going to affect these guys, but is it going to keep them from winning a championship? I don't think so.
It could. It could end up costing them a championship.
Very well can.
I don't understand. Rick Hendrick, over the years, if you look back in history, his crew chiefs have been always real creative, haven't they, Kirk?
They had Chad Knaus has been called a cheater more ways than one.
Steve Letarte. He was
right.
He was known as pushing the rules a little bit.
But who is the overall guy that's kind of in charge of all this now? Chad Knaus.
Right.
He's not a crew chief for an individual car, but they've always been accused of stretching the rules, and I think the bottom line is if you have problem making these parts and pieces fit, you're supposed to go to NASCAR and say, hey, I can't make this work. What do I do now?
Right.
They didn't do that. They modified these parts and pieces according to NASCAR in order to get them to fit. And by the way, Hendrick is going to appeal this. So we'll see what the result is of that.
That will go on deaf ears, to be honest with you.
We've seen appeals work on occasion.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to work on this one. Because, again, it's a factory part, and you're not supposed to monkey with those factory parts.
Or at least if you do monkey with it, you're supposed to get NASCAR involved in it.
Approval.
All of this started because these teams wanted NASCAR to save them from themselves. And what do I mean by that? They wanted NASCAR to help them save money. And that was the whole reason for the next-gen car, to get the parts and pieces the same for everybody.
Yeah.
Because where the costs really drove up is when everybody was on their own manufacturing and coming up with their own ways of doing things, and that all costs money.
Right.
So if you get everybody on the same parts and pieces from different vendors, then the idea is it's supposed to help them save money. I think it probably worked in a lot of ways, but I don't think it changed the whole approach of these teams, that they're still going to stretch the limit on what they're able to do with these race cars. They're still going to try to pound the boundaries of what NASCAR lays out there, because that's what competitors do.
Yeah.
That's never going to change. These guys are going to try to beat the rule book. That's the way it always is.
It's always been that way, right? Denny Hamlin, he ran into Ross Chastain during that race, and he is going to appeal that decision. And he said, after much consideration, I've decided I will appeal the decision by NASCAR to penalize me. What happened on Sunday was common, hard racing that happens in each and every weekend. There was also no manipulation of the race nor actions detrimental to the sport. What do you think about that, Kurt?
I think Denny Hamlin ought to learn how to keep his mouth shut. If you're going to take somebody out on purpose, don't admit it on a live podcast. Don't say that's what you did. If you do it, that's fine, but, Denny ought to know better.
Listen, I'm all for drivers saying what's on their mind. And listen, if they have to, Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin have had some run-ins, right, Kirk? We've seen that many times, right?
Yeah. Did it start last year at St. Louis where the two of them got into it?
Right.
It might have happened before that. But these guys have not let it die.
No.
And Denny Hamlin was bound and determined to make Ross Chastain pay for whatever he was thinking about at the end of that race last week in Phoenix.
Do you think Denny Hamlin is still a little bit raw for the wall move?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because he got around him and knocked him out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And NASCAR's view is, we'll let these guys settle it out, but, enough's enough already.
Right.
We were told by you, Denny Hamlin, that this is over. Ross, is it over? Yep, it's over. Well, it's not over. So NASCAR feels that, there are times that they've got to be able to step in to shut it down.
Ross Chastain isn't above roughing somebody up out on the racetrack. And Denny just doesn't care for him much at all. So Denny was docked 25 points and issued a $50,000 fine for his actions out on the racetrack. What do you think about that?
That'd be a lot of money to you and me, wouldn't it? Is it a lot of money to Denny Hamlin?
I don't know if it's a lot of money to Denny Hamlin or not. Denny Hamlin made his money back in the day when drivers were getting paid a lot of money. Again, we've talked about this over and over and over again about how these current drivers nowadays, they sign for $500,000. They're not signing $10 million contracts, $15 million contracts. They're working off of $500,000 contracts because these young guys, they want to get into the sport, and so they'll sign up for cheap. And we know that's a fact, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's the world's changed as far as, it's not more than, 10, 15 years ago, NASCAR Cup Series drivers, as a rule, were paid, $15,
$20 million a race.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's not. The economics have changed a lot since, the 15 years ago.
Yeah, no doubt. Kirk, heavy rain last night washed out the World of Outlaw race at Williams Grove.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that comes off the heels of 2 nights at Port Royal Speedway wiped out last weekend because of bad weather.
Yep.
Which leads me to question, should we be scheduling races in the middle of March in Pennsylvania? In years past, they were out in California. But, I've got to say that even if they were out in California like they were for many years, this time of the year, they'd be rained out there as well.
It'd be sketchy out there now as well.
So,
yeah,
it's a tough time of the year.
They normally go to Tulare and Hanford, right?
Right. They've had flooding issues out of Tulare, California here in the last few weeks.
It's not been good out there.
No. So even if they'd have been out in California like they'd been in years past, I don't think they would have got any of those races in.
Right.
But it is what it is. Some years we've had great weather in March at a lot of places, but this year it's not happening anywhere.
Mm-mm.
So tonight they're going to go at it again. Lincoln Speedway is the site, and the weather forecast looks pretty good, by the way. They're going to start earlier in the day. I think they're going to start hot lapping at about 4 o'clock local time out there. Late afternoon. They're going to get this show in early.
Try to get it in early.
Even though it's got a partly cloudy forecast out there, no rain in the forecast. It's going to be cold tonight. They're talking about low temperatures into the 20s at Abbottstown, Pennsylvania tonight. So they're going to get an early start. I think they're going to get it in tonight. So they've already had a couple of races at Lincoln. Remember, here a few weeks back, they did like a Thursday night show, and they came back and ran a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And they had good weather those weekends, so they've already had races up at Lincoln Speedway, and I think it looks pretty good for tonight. Let's hope they get it in.
Spring Nationals down at Devil's Bowl Speedway with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour also was canceled this weekend. And they got a lot of rain down there. And if anybody knows anything about Devil's Bowl's pits, that when they get wet, it's like quicksand. You can't get in and out of those pits. And they got a lot of rain down there this weekend.
You had planned on going down there this weekend,
I
right?
was going to go down there, yeah.
The season opener for the ASCS National Tour.
Yeah.
The 50th anniversary Spring Nationals, not to be this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That's 2 weekends they've had events called off at Devil's Bowl. They were supposed to have I think a 305 Nationals event down there last weekend, got called off.
Right. And I-35 Speedway up there in Winston, Missouri, they've called off their Ice Buster due to bad weather this weekend.
Yeah, a low temperature of 15 tonight with a high in the lower 30s. Yeah, that's not going to work.
No. You know, I just don't understand racetracks trying to get these races in March. It doesn't make much sense to me. I think they need to wait till April. Don't you, Kurt?
But I've seen bad weather in April, too, so I'm thinking, we've had such bad weather this month that maybe April is going to treat us right. Let's hope so. But, this time of the year, March, April, you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, no doubt.
So next weekend is a big weekend.
It was snowing last night.
Yeah. Man, I looked out the window the other morning and saw snow on my vehicle. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Shocking. But, the weather forecast looks good. Next weekend looks much better. The temperature's going to start warming back up again for one of the crown jewels of USMTS modified racing. The King of America will be in action next Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Humboldt Speedway. And they're going to run the Battle of the Bull Ring for the B-Mods the same weekend. So we're going to get John Allen on our Mostly Motorsports show on Monday to give us an update on how everything looks. But I'm looking at the forecast for Humboldt next weekend. Looks a lot better.
Well, the weather is going to really increase the temperature-wise.
Yeah. It's about time, isn't it not?
It is about time.
Let's get it on here.
Right.
We're just a couple of weeks away. The Outlaws are going to be at US 36 on the 7th of April. And April 8th, Saturday night at 81 Speedway. And then Tuesday, the 11th of April, is the High Limits race out here at Lakeside Speedway.
$50,000 to win.
That's going to be a big event.
Listen.
That'll draw a crowd.
That will be a giant crowd out there. If you're planning on going to that High Limits race out at Lakeside Speedway, the $50,000 to win race, get there early, because that place is going to be packed. Would you agree?
Oh, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen a bigger crowd at Lakeside than the Outlaws last October.
You think the High Limits race will be bigger than the Outlaws?
No, I wouldn't say that. But I think it's going to be close to it.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on that one, Kirk. I think so.
Depends on the weather, Scott.
The weather is going to be a factor, no doubt about it. But for $50,000 to win, I think a lot of people are going to want to go see that race, because they canceled the race that was out in California, right?
Have they already pulled the plug on the Tulare race on the 25th?
I think they did.
Yeah, they've had floods out there, a lot of bad weather out at Tulare. That was not supposed to be a points-paying event.
So Lakeside is going to be the first big event.
Right. The first and the first that they're going to tabulate points.
And where else are they running for $50,000 to win, Kurt?
I'd have to take a look at the schedule to see, but most of them have pretty similar purses, do they not?
Pretty much $20,000 to win for most of those races. Yeah.
But $50,000, that's a big one to start off, no doubt about it. And the month of April is big if you're a Wing Sprint Car fan, you got a lot of options. Not only are they going to be at US 36 and also at 81 Speedway for the first time. I'm looking forward to that because we've not seen them at 81 Speedway. And,
right.
They put on good shows down there in the late models and modifieds, so we'll see what the sprint cars do down there. We've seen great sprint car races down there, though, Scott. You've had
I've seen a lot of good
ASCS has been there,
Yeah.
put on great shows, so I think that's going to be a great event when the Outlaws go to 81 Speedway near Wichita. But they're also going to be at I-55 Federated Auto Parts Speedway in April, and Knoxville in late April is going to host a two-night World of Outlaw event. So a lot of big-time wing sprint car events coming up in the month of April. And I'm thinking since it's been so bad in March that April's going to treat us right. So, but the warming trend is coming, folks. So
right.
I think beginning next weekend we're going to see this race season at least where we're at.
Kirk, the other $50,000 to win race is at Lernerville.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and most of these races pay $20,020 to win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to be at 34 Raceway, Kokomo Raceway, Wayne County Raceway, Tri-City Speedway. You know, one of the races that I really like to see, Kirk, is the one up at Eagle, Nebraska, and the one that's at Huset's as well. Those are two races that I'd really like to see.
Short, high-banked racetracks.
Yeah.
Eagle Raceway. We haven't seen enough big events at Eagle lately, and so, you know, getting some bigger events back at that racetrack, that's a good thing.
Yep, that's really good. So, and then they're going to run at Bridgeport Motorsports Park and Lincoln Park Speedway out in PA.
And these events are midweek events, and they've changed the rules of the Platinum member of the World of Outlaws that will allow more of those guys to participate in more of those events this year. You didn't see them run any. You didn't see the World of Outlaw guys run any of the high limits races last year, but World of Outlaws has loosened up the restrictions a little bit that you're going to be able to see some of the outlaw guys run those high limit races.
Do you think there's going to be a conflict before the season's up?
I don't know. I think if everything is as it is, and these guys participate in a lot of these high-limit races, but still you see huge crowds at the World of Outlaws events, and you don't see much affected as far as the crowds are concerned.
Do you think
at
the World of Outlaws
events? I don't think it'll be a big issue.
Do you think the World of Outlaws are not happy about the high limits race?
Well, you know they're not happy about it.
They're not happy.
They just soon not see it.
No.
And, if I were in their shoes, I guess I couldn't blame them. You know, anything that, that comes up and you think might threaten any way their standing in sprint car racing, if I were in their shoes, I'd be a little nervous about it.
Well, the schedule, how many races they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 12 races. If they start to expand a little bit, I think World of Outlaws gets a little more nervous, right? If they expand it to 25 races over the course of next year, now they start getting a little bit more nervous.
But when you hear Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet say, no, we're not threatening the World of Outlaws. Right. We're just adding other opportunities here. So, Sweet and Larson insist that that's not what they're trying to do here.
Right.
But, if you're Brian Carter and some of the other folks at World of Outlaws, you might look at that a little different.
Right. All right, we're going to take a break here real quick, and when we come back, we're going to play an interview that we did with Carson Macedo. He's currently third in the World of Outlaw points. He is one of the best drivers on the circuit, and we're going to listen to that interview when we come back right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hey, Soren Petro here. When you need brilliant, sparkling diamonds, go see my friend Gary Joslin and his family at Joslin's Jewelry. For 40 years, Gary has stood behind everything in his store, from thousands of small jewelry repairs to that once-in-a-lifetime engagement ring. Joslin wants to be your jeweler for life. That's why Joslin's is the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family. See him at 95th and Antioch, online at joslinsjewelry.com.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
Since the 1950s, Americans began to treat their lawns with harmful pesticides. Back then, people didn't know how this process would impact their families and the environment. 67 years later, people are still using the same old process, until now. In 2023, Dream Lawn will change the lawn care industry forever. Dream Lawn uses its Soil Smart technology to give you the beautiful lawn you have always wanted, all while significantly reducing the amount of harmful pesticides used on your property. What's in your lawn?
What makes a Kia from Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia Brogdon Best Buy? Let's start with the exclusive 90-day money-back guarantee on every new Kia. Next, Olathe Kia has award-winning vehicles like the new 2023 Telluride and Carnival and the selection of Kia favorites like the Sorento, Seltos, and Soul. The entire Kia lineup is at an all-time high. And let's not forget Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. We want to see you in a Kia from Olathe Kia at I-35 in Santa Fe or visit OlatheKia.com. Customer must register vehicle. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See kia.com or retailer for details.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Compensated dramatization.
What if your car wreck case settled for $1,000 and you later found out that it may have been worth over $100,000?
Insurance companies try to trick you into taking a quick, cheap settlement. Don't fall for it. Call me. My team will get you what your case is worth.
I didn't take that fast, cheap settlement. I called Mike and his team after my wreck, and they got me $125,000.
Call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500.
Mike's got this.
Rally House. Shop every team in town. College and pro. Come on, it's time to go.
Gear up for the madness, KC. Shop Rally House for the largest selection of college styles as your team makes their postseason run.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State. Chiefs and Royals make KC great. Rally House. Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Shop buzzer-beating styles in-store and online at rallyhouse.com.
You deserve the best, so why not buy for the best? Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC is the area's #1 GM dealer. There are 3 easy reasons to buy from Brogdon. First, they offer an exclusive 90-day money-back guarantee on every new Buick or GMC. Second, they've got the best selection in the state with over 200 new vehicles. New 2023 Buick Encore GX, Envision, and Enclaves, over 100 available. New 2023 Acadia, Sierra, Terrain, and Yukon, over 100 of those too. And they're going to make sure you've got the best dealership experience. Find your next Buick or GMC at robertbrogdon.com or at I-35 in Santa Fe.
Ready for the underdogs, the upsets, and the unbelievable action from DraftKings Sportsbook? The biggest tournament in college basketball is here. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on college hoops and get $200 in free bets.
If you or your child suffer a sprain, strain, or fracture, the University of Kansas Health System offers orthopedic walk-in care at I-435 in Nolan, Overland Park. It is open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for ages 5 and older. If you're injured in everyday life or playing sports, see an orthopedic expert without an appointment. Learn more about the University of Kansas Health System's orthopedic same-day care at kansashealthsystem.com/orthopedics.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Visiting with us now is the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink driver of the number 41, Carson Macedo joins us on the show. Carson, how you doing?
Doing really well. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Let's just talk about your season so far. It's been kind of tough for you, really, to start off the year, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I actually wouldn't call it tough. I feel like we've had a pretty good run up to this point. You know, we were able to win down in Volusia at the All-Star race before the World of Outlaw season got started there, and then kicked off with, you know, a couple runs that I felt like I could have done a better job as a driver, just to at least put us in the top 5, especially the second night. But we still ended up leaving there with a couple of top 10s, and then went back to Volusia and ran really well, had a win and a couple of good runs. I think a 7th and a 2nd. So really can't complain with that.
Right.
Florida's always really tough competition, and I felt like my JGR 41 car had been really good, at Volusia. All of those races, we were able to qualify really well and just put ourselves in a good position, be in the dash pretty much every night. And I think that's the name of the game. And I think with a crew chief like Philip Dietz and having Clyde Knipp and Nate Repitz, all them really good guys on my team, it makes it so much easier to do my job well and perform at that level. So, I'm not disappointed with the way we started the season. I think we're sitting like third in outlaw points, which it's such a long year. It's not even really worth looking at this point. But ultimately, I feel like, we're in a good spot and we can move forward from where we're at.
Yeah. You're 24 points out of the lead. David Gravel, Logan Schuchart are ahead of you right now. Let's just talk about the season and how long it is and how patient you have to be. And really what you need to do is you've got to pound out those top fives, don't you?
That's exactly right. You look at the World of Outlaws season as a whole, and typically you can look back throughout the points of the World of Outlaws in the history of the sport, and, every year the guy with the most top fives wins the championship, pretty much. And it really is a direct correlation even throughout the points, as you go down. So, that's the name of the game. Ultimately, that being in the top five as often as possible is going to reward you with a championship, I think. And also, finishing those races, even though, you do need to run in the top five every night, you can't have, you can't have a season full of top fives and then, 5 or 6 DNFs either. You still have to finish those other races that you are outside the top five and finish well. And I think that's what guys like Donnie Schatz and Brad Sweet have done really well over the years, is just not have any failures, not have any DNFs, not have any, mistakes on their part of, getting in an accident and wrecking the race car or putting themselves in a position where they, don't finish the race. So, luckily I'm, with a great team that gives me, great equipment that is always staying together and it maintained really well. And I feel like our race car is really close most nights. So our main concern, I think, is just to, make sure that the driver doesn't make any dumb decisions, that we finish well and finish every night.
Yeah. Philip Dietz, we've known Philip for a long time. We traveled. We did all the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour races for 13 years. And Philip is just one of the brightest minds in sprint car racing. Would you agree with that?
There's no doubt about it. I think he's one of the best. I personally think he is the sport. I think he's, incredible at what he does. I think his knowledge for being able to watch the race car and, take notes and data and formulate a plan and, basically a guess on what would be the best option to, move forward from one race to the next is just outstanding. I mean, the guy is really, really, gifted at what he does, and he's put in a lot of effort and a lot of time to be that good. So, I'm very thankful to be working with him, and I think that, I'm looking forward to a few things coming, throughout the year. I think, just recently coming into this weekend, we're going to be on a different tire with Hoosier. It's a brand new tire that they've just came out with, and I think Phil's one of the best in adapting to those conditions, and I really look forward to seeing how he, translates with those new tires. So I can't say enough. I think he's great. He's a great guy to work with. He's become a really, really good friend of mine, and I think we work really well together.
Yeah. Nate's real good with those tires, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Clyde and Nate both do an incredible job. I think they really, under the leadership of Phil, take their job really seriously, and they really care about everything they're doing, and you can see it in their performance that they provide and their work ethic. I mean, it goes without saying that, JJR always has that professional image, and it was what Jason, preached that he, wanted out of his guys back in the day, and I feel like they just carry that torch so well. Nate, really does an incredible job. I think he was a teacher, before, so I think he's already kind of had that routine work ethic instilled in him, and he definitely does an incredible. We're very lucky to have both Clyde and Nate, and I think Phil is really happy with the way they've progressed over the years to become such fluent employees in their work, and they just do it almost. Our team's to the point now, it's basically the third year that Phil, Clyde, and Nate have worked together, and their effort to work together just seems so easy. But it's a few years of work, and they know what each other expects, and they just all do their job very well.
Hey, Carson, this is Kirk. You've had success at Williams Grove Speedway. You won the National Open there in 2021. Just kind of talk about the challenge of getting around this big half-mile racetrack.
Well, I have had some recent success at Williams Grove. The last few years have been fairly good to me. But, when I first started racing at Williams Grove, it was nothing easy, that's for sure. I felt like I struggled there more than most places. And, now I feel like being with Philip and JJR and just having so many more races under my belt at Williams Grove, I think that I've come to be a lot more comfortable at that racetrack. And, Philip has a really good package there, and I think that we've had success over the last couple of years just because of that package is so close, and I feel like I can just drive the car so much more aggressive, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the Grove this weekend. I'm looking forward to racing in general with the way the weather's been. It seems like you never know if we're going to be racing or not, but the weather's looking fairly decent, and I think that there's a good shot that we'll be able to race. So I fly out tomorrow and meet up with the guys in Pennsylvania, and hopefully we can put a good result up on the board.
What do you think about Lincoln the following night? How are you at that racetrack?
Yeah, we've been decent at Lincoln. I've struggled there in the past as well, but I think we ran third the last time that we were at Lincoln, and I feel like Phil also has a really good package there as well. So I'm optimistic. I think that we can win either night. I feel like we have a really good shot. As good as anyone, and I always look forward to going to PA. There's a lot of really good fans in that area. Everybody really supports us drivers as far as the merchandise side of things, and I just feel like there's just always a passionate group of fans. You always see packed. I'm sure Williams Grove and Lincoln, if we get both of them in, will be packed house, and it'll be great shows.
Yeah, I'm planning on going out for PA Speed Week this year. I can't wait to get out there and go through all those racetracks out there. What makes PA so special, and why are the drivers so good out there?
I would say what makes PA special just because they have a lot of local talent. Not many places across the country other than probably California, Pennsylvania, Ohio, obviously Iowa, Knoxville, but there's not, PA's probably got arguably, the most talented local competition. There's just a lot of races in Pennsylvania that you can run as a local and really make a living racing sprint cars in Pennsylvania without leaving hardly at all. You see guys do it, Danny Dietrich and Lance Weiss and
Brent Marks.
Macri. There's a few of them out there that are racing just in Pennsylvania, and they seem to be able to make a living doing it because they can run 90 races a year for pretty good money. So I think that drives up PA more than anything. I think the tracks are very unique. Being, Williams Grove, there's really nothing in the country like it. And Lincoln's not far behind. It's just smaller, but it's the same idea. And I think that ultimately just makes it to where, it's the locals are really good teams and good drivers, and they got their cars really close at those racetracks, and so they're going to be tough to beat.
It seems like to me that those drivers out there with those big tracks, in the way they lift the right front on those cars, the setup has to be a little bit different than what you do back here in the Midwest, right?
Yeah, I think you got to change your car around a little bit to make that work compared to a little oval circle track. It's definitely, when you're racing at Williams Grove, your car's it's got to be different than racing at Attica in Ohio. So it's all about it's just like I just said. That's ultimately why the PA posse is so tough to beat. Is they're good teams, they got good engines, good cars, they got a lot of them have plenty of funding, And, they race at tracks that are unique all the time. And so, it's tough to come in there and beat them on any given night.
For many years, we were used to seeing the World of Outlaws out in your home state of California this time of the year. Are you disappointed that the schedule's not like it used to be, where you'd be out in your home state racing this month?
A lot of the owners in the owners meeting, wanted to cut California out. They said it was just too expensive to travel all the way out west twice. And so I think the World of Outlaws just catered to that and, decided to go to Pennsylvania. And really, other than most years, that would have been a detriment. I know last year my brother was trying to race in Pennsylvania, with his team out in Ohio, and they never got a race in the whole month of March.
Mm-hmm.
But, this year, Pennsylvania's racing, and believe it or not, California's over here on, jack stands because it's been raining every day. So as much as I would love for the Outlaws to be out here right now and not in PA, I really have nothing to complain about this year because we wouldn't be racing out here anyways. It's just been raining every day, and everything's flooded, and all the races that are trying to run in March are getting canceled regardless. So,
right.
It's ended up actually being probably the best thing this year.
After winning the most amount of races last year, how disappointed were you after picking up those 11 wins last year and finishing third in points? How frustrating was that to you?
Ultimately, the Outlaw Tour is about finishing in the top 5 the most often, and Brad Sweet proved that last year. Brad won, I can't remember how many races he won, to be honest, but it was like 5 or 6 or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And he still won the championship. So what that tells me is it's not necessarily about winning the most races. I wish, obviously, with the way last year turned out for us and the wind calm, that it would have translated that way. But, we just had a few nights. I mean, it literally came down for us to 3 nights. I wrecked at Cedar Lake. We were light at the scales at Williams Grove. After we ran second. We had an issue at I wrecked again at Williams Grove.
Yep.
Later in the year, and then I had an engine not fire. We had an issue. We had changed motors, blew up in the dash at Sharon, changed motors, and the other engine had some issues, some mag issues, and it wouldn't fire, and so that was another DNF. So, that's the difference. You take those nights and you turn those nights into top 5s, and then boom, I mean, you win the champ. We would have won the championship by a landslide, but
right.
You always have those nights, and you try and limit those nights down and not look back and think, oh, man, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Now, ultimately, Brad won the championship because he was the most consistent car, and I think that's what's so special about the Outlaw Tour is it's not cup racing where, you can not win not really do any good all year. You can run last every night and then just win a race, and then you're in the chase. It just doesn't work that way. It's the consistency over a 90-race season and 80 race season, and it's so hard to do it. But that's why so few guys have done it, and that's why it's so rewarding to win a World of Outlaw championship, in my opinion.
Yeah. We got to talk a little bit about what's going on around our area here at Lakeside Speedway. They're going to have the high limits race. Are you going to run that race out there for that $50,000 to win?
I assume, Phil and I have talked about it. It's near the shop there at JJR, and I'm pretty sure that's one that Phil wants to run. So, I mean, I can't give you 100% for sure because ultimately that's Phil's decision. But, I know that it's one that we've circled and talked about going to. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And we've also got a race up at US 36, and then you're going to be racing at 81 Speedway for the Jason Johnson Classic. Those are 2 really important races for us around this area. Talk about US 36 and what that track, and how do you drive that racetrack up there? It's a pretty fast little giddy-up place, isn't it?
It's very banked, and I think it's got a fence only in 1 and 2, and then no fence on the backstretch, and then in 3 and 4, I don't think it has a wall. But I just remember it being really banked and really fast, and you had to race it real aggressive. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that it's good that we're racing in the Midwest more often, and all those racetracks you mentioned, in that side of the country, I'm looking forward to.
You're going to Knoxville in April this year. That's kind of different, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that those races are in place of the Bristol races that were on the schedule in the past. I think Bristol was it was a really cool novelty to be able to go run Bristol, and I'm thankful that I was able to. But, for our race cars and the way the banking was, and it was just so big and fast. It just didn't produce, amazing racing. So, I'm looking forward to Knoxville. I think Knoxville is a much better racetrack for the product that we put out. And I think that, if we could race at Knoxville 20 times, I'd be happy.
Right, yeah. Well, Carson, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Track Talk on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're the largest all-sports radio station in the country. A lot of people listen to this show. We've been doing it for 25 years, and we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to racing all the racetracks in that area of the country, and looking forward to kind of getting the World of Outlaw season kicked off. I feel like we've been able to get going, and then we have a break because of either rainouts or a break in the schedule, and hopefully this weekend kind of gets us off to where we're racing every weekend and we can get busy again. So Thanks again for having me on, and hopefully everybody follows along.
All right, good luck to you this weekend.
All right, thank you.
All right, there you have it. Carson Macedo joining us here on Track Talk. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hey, Kansas City, are you tired of worrying about our extreme weather taking a toll on your roof? Then look no further than JPA Roofing. JPA has completed 11,000 roofing projects over the last 25 years and is a local company with stellar Google reviews. Right now, JPA Roofing is offering $250 off your new full roof installation when you mention SSJ. 816-331-6219. That's 816-331-6219.
The Shields Spring Hunting Sale event is happening now through March 26th. Shields has the best selection around. From dusting clays to chasing longbeards or dialing in on the range, there's something for everyone. Save on top brands like Vortex, Winchester, Benelli, Sig Sauer, Seekins Precision, and more. Shop our full selection of brands and styles in-store and online at Shields.com. Spring is here. Are you ready?
It's Truck Month at Bob Allen Ford. If you're looking for a powerful and reliable truck to get the job done, look no further. We have a great selection available, including the legendary F-150, America's best-selling truck. And now, for a limited time, you can get a free Line-X spray liner with the purchase of any in-stock truck. Don't miss out on Ford Truck Month and this amazing offer. Visit us today. Like my father always says, all Fords are created equal. It's your dealer that makes the difference.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Nothing makes cheering on your favorite team better than wings. Pair your at-home game day with Twin Peaks Wings. Find your favorite store at twinpeaksrestaurant.com/locations.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At Rye Restaurants, we celebrate Midwestern recipes, traditions, and culture using local Kansas and Missouri flavors and farmers. Rye showcases those heritage dishes that the Midwest is known for, such as succulent smoked pork chops, aged steaks, baby back ribs, fried chicken, farm-fresh vegetables, Parker house rolls, seasonal pies, fruit cobblers, and ice cream sundaes, just to name a few. Rye has 2 locations in the metro, the original at Mission Farms in Leawood and Rye Plaza on the Country Club Plaza. Rye, your favorite comfort foods based on traditional Midwestern recipes.
The Shields Spring Hunting Sale event is happening now through March 26th. Shields has the best selection around, from dusting clays to chasing longbeards or dialing in on the range. There's something for everyone. Save on top brands like Vortex, Winchester, Benelli, Sig Sauer, Seekins Precision, and more. Shop our full selection of brands and styles in-store and online at shields.com. Spring is here. Are you ready?
68 teams.
For 3, he hit it!
6 games to win.
He got it to go!
3 weekends to advance.
Spin and slams it home!
And for the one team left standing, a national championship.
Turn the lights off, say goodnight. That's gonna do it.
Join us this Saturday. It's Kansas versus Arkansas on your home for Kansas Jayhawk basketball. The Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott. He's Kirk. We're the Racing Boys. Thanks for joining us. We got people listening in from Central Point, Oregon, Miamisburg, Ohio. Can't thank those people enough for watching the show, as you can watch it online on our Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, and racingboys.com. I want to remind everybody what's going on up at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum right now. Kirk, they're going to be giving away a 2023 Z06 Corvette with the Z07 Performance Package. It's a pearl white Metallica tri-coat color, and they're going to give you $25,000 on top of it to help you pay for the taxes. That's unusual. Not many people do that. They normally don't give you $25,000 to help pay for the taxes. This is a great car, folks. It makes 760 horsepower. It's a 5.5 LT6 V8 engine. Goes from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. It's an 8-speed automatic. It's got the big brakes. It's got the big tires on it. And it is one heck of a car, Kirk. And all the proceeds that go from this raffle go directly to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. You can win it online by going to winaz06corvette.com, winaz06corvette.com. How would you like to drive that car, Kurt?
Oh, are you kidding me? That'd be a lifetime thrill for me.
Yeah.
I drove a Ferrari once, but
I know that. You
would be
you stalled it out a couple times too, didn't you?
On the road course at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was a great time. But hey, this car, this is
a
this
real
may be
race
the best
car.
Corvette I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a real race car. It's a performance Corvette, street legal race car is what it is.
We might have a chance to see that if they take delivery on this thing soon, which I assume around the start of the season. We got some big events coming up there at Knoxville, and maybe get up there and check that out here.
760 horsepower, Kirk. Can you believe that?
That's a race car on a street.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So when you did that out there at Kansas Speedway, you drove that Ferrari, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked that they
allowed you to do
me
that.
To do something like that.
Right. Okay, don't forget now, again, all the proceeds that go from this Corvette on the raffle go directly to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, and they're going to have the Williams Grove Track Tribute up there this year. That's going to be awesome.
How about that? Last year, Ascot Park. This year, Williams Grove Speedway.
Right.
A lot of history to dissect there.
Yeah.
They'll have some great exhibits up there with the Williams Grove exhibit at the Hall of Fame.
I think I'm going to go to Knoxville a little bit more this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably going to go up there here just a few weeks. I mean, like we talked about earlier, the World of Outlaws up there later in the month. You got the opening night coming up here in just, about 3 weeks?
Right.
So, yeah, we're all thinking that. As bad as it is this March, April's going to be a great month. That's what we're all hoping for. So,
right.
We'll get a chance to get up to Knoxville early this year.
One of the cool things about this car is each engine is assembled by one engine tech.
3 minutes.
And that engine tech puts his signature on that motor. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That is cool.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, your camping spot is already set and ready to go up there at the North Campground. So
yeah,
you can just take the rig up there early this time.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's gonna need a little work on it before we take it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it.
Imagine that, Kurt.
Out of winterization.
Right.
Hey, by the way, we're supposed to have a couple of big late model events this weekend. Both the Lucas Oil Late Model Series and the World of Outlaws called off their events this weekend because of bad weather. Lucas Oil Late Model Series was supposed to be at Atomic Speedway and Brownstown this weekend. No go for those events. And the World of Outlaws called off at Smoky Mountain Speedway and Boyd Speedway. So everything getting wiped out this weekend, Scott. It just it's a good weekend to stay indoors and watch hoops.
It's been a rough winter, hasn't it, Kirk? It has been.
We're ready for
I'm
some
ready
good
to
racing.
I'm ready to go to some races.
I just got a confirmation. John Allen, the owner of Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway, will be on the show Monday, mostly motorsports.
And we might have a driver on as well.
We might have a driver on. Next weekend is the King of America. We're looking at that forecast, and we're seeing a lot better for next weekend. So we're thinking that it's going to be a great weekend for the King of America at Humboldt Speedway next weekend. Johnny Allen will be on Mostly Motorsports Monday to talk about it.
And that starts at 12 noon Central Time right here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network.
We won't have a lot of racing to talk about, though.
No.
We'll have the NASCAR at Atlanta. Even though it rained out all the track activity yesterday, the weather looks a lot better, even though it's going to be a little bit cool over the next couple of days at Atlanta. We'll have that to talk about, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's always a pleasure. We've been doing this for a long, long time here on 810, and it's always a pleasure to be able to do it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget, Monday, 12 noon Central Time, it's Mostly Motorsports with Kirk and myself, with the Racing Boys, and hopefully you'll join us. We're going to have Johnny Allen on as well, and maybe a driver as well, talk about what's coming up with the King of America. That should be good. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. For Deidre Ingram, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Get your seafood now during the
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Got it, baby.
Hey, everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. You got my mic on there, D? I can't hear myself. There, I got it. Now I got it. All right. My headphones were a little messed up over here, Kirk. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, and I need to learn how to solder because my headphone over here is in and out. And if I could work a soldering gun, I could fix that.
Well,
so
learn how to use a soldering gun.
Technical stuff going on here, but we'll get it all sorted out. We missed Todd this morning.
Yeah, no doubt. Todd's a little...
Todd, if you're listening in, we miss you this morning,
Yeah.
but Deidre's doing a great job back here, we appreciate her coming down here to help out this morning.
Well, she's done this before.
Yeah.
It's not her first rodeo.
Not her first rodeo.
Deidre,
Now, Deidre is
on your microphone.
Are you going to help? Scott is going to be doing some camera work out on the road this year. I heard a rumor that you may go out there and spend some weekends out on the road doing some things for Flo. Is that true?
Not sure yet.
Not sure yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Partial true, I guess.
I just heard rumors of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a possibility that I'll be doing some camera work for him occasionally.
I thought you already had something lined up.
What is that I hear in the background?
I don't know what you hear in the background.
Do you hear that noise in the background, Kurt?
I hear something coming through, but I'm not sure what it is.
Is it the speaker on that right there, Deidre? On that computer?
Nothing's playing.
I hear the same thing. It's not coming for your computer, is it? You don't have it plugged in.
No, mine's completely turned down. It might be from your computer,
It
Kurt.
might just be.
You've been known to do that before.
There we go.
There it was.
It was my computer.
Imagine that.
Imagine
Kurt.
that.
Imagine Todd's surprise. Can you
Oh, my
imagine
God.
that it was Kirk Elliott's computer?
I was going to say I'm a little rusty, but I'm not that rusty. I don't have anything playing back here.
You know, of all the mistakes that's happened here this morning, it's really my fault that a lot of this stuff is that the little glitches that's gone on here this morning that
Right.
maybe a lot of people haven't noticed, but I have.
There hasn't been that
I've
many
caused
glitches.
it all.
No, there hadn't been that many.
Now, we're making a good... Deidre, you're doing a great job.
Well,
thank you.
Listen, she spent some time out on the road with us.
Yeah. She knows all about this.
She spent 3 years out on the road with us. Do you miss those road days?
Sometimes.
Do you?
You miss seeing friends out there on
I
the road.
do.
You miss
and
your friends, don't you?
I miss my friends, and I miss the adventures that
You know, we were lucky enough last night to hang out with Brandon Hahn, weren't we?
Yes. I love Brandon.
And his girlfriend is just as cute as a button, isn't she?
She really is.
Yeah.
He did good.
Yeah. He did really good there.
Brandon normally would be down at Devil's Bowl Speedway this weekend, right?
Well, he's trying to get on with an electrical company, and being a trainee with an electrical company, he wants to make a little bit more money.
Well, if you become an electrician, you're going to make a lot of money.
Well, I know that. My future son-in-law is an electrician. He did a lot of work on this house for us.
Wes?
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
You're going to be a grandpa, aren't you?
I'm going to be a grandpa. Yeah, for sure.
How about that?
I'm going to have a grandson.
Yeah, with 2 daughters, that now you're going to have a grandson. That's enticing.
I'm a little stoked up about that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't spit many boys out in our family. We don't do that.
No. You're the only one. Now you're going to have a grandson.
I am the only child to my mom. My mom was only had one of me.
Yeah.
She couldn't have more than one of me.
Just one of you is enough.
I was going to say, I'm quite sure he was a handful.
You see our dog Bristol walking around?
Yeah. Hey, you know, we talk a lot of music on this show, and I want to talk with Deidre just a little bit about, that Winona concert here a few weeks back. That was one of the best concerts I think I've ever seen at T-Mobile Center. And you were there. We were both right there close by, weren't we?
We were. I shed some tears.
You were like on the other side of where I was, but we had about the same view, even though you were on the other side of the floor than I was.
Mm-hmm.
That was really something.
You shed some tears, Dee?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yeah.
She had video playing of
her
mom in the background. And when they did Love Can Build a Bridge, it was like they were facing each other, singing. Oh, man, it tore me up.
She laid it out there that night, I will say. She, Winona,
did she cry?
I think she did shed some tears.
Mm.
Her husband is also on stage there with her. He's one of the drummer on stage. He had to come up there and kind of hold her hand there a couple times. That was a pretty emotional event for Winona, and that was just part of a tour of many events that she did that. But I thought that was one of the great shows I'd ever seen.
It was amazing. It was really amazing. And so I went with the neighbor and I went together, and we went to the Green Lady Lounge because that's where Winona said she was going to go, her and Kelsey Ballerini.
Did she end up going?
Her husband ended up going. She did not.
I don't blame Winona for going back to the hotel or the bus or wherever she was to rest up after that show. She said she was going to show up down there. I don't blame her for not showing up.
Yeah, well, when you put that out there while you're on stage, there's going to be a ton of people there.
And she had
Was there a ton of people there?
Oh, it was packed.
Yeah.
It was packed.
They were expecting her to be there.
It's a very narrow, long building, almost like a shotgun building.
Right, yeah.
And it's very cave-like feeling. And to go from a Winona concert with all of this energy to jazz.
Right.
That just brought down the mood for me.
We went and saw the Kentucky Headhunters the other night, didn't we, Dee?
We did, yes.
They were pretty good, weren't they?
They did really good, yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of that band that opened for him?
Eskimo Brothers.
No, it was somebody and the Eskimo Brothers.
I don't remember who the other ones were.
Yeah, but it was pretty
That's
good.
That's a cool place, that Knuckleheads.
Yeah.
I got to get back down there and check that out.
Kirk, we went down there last night. We were going to go to Knuckleheads last night. And when we got down there, every room was sold out.
No kidding.
Wasn't it, Dee?
It was, yes.
They didn't have any tickets left.
The garage and...
They sold out in the over there across the street in the little room.
Right.
They sold that out at 5:30. And they sold out the garage a couple days before that.
Like Tuesday or Wednesday it was sold out.
Right.
Tanya Tucker was down there. I didn't go last Sunday night. Did she draw a big crowd?
I don't know. I didn't go either.
We didn't go. Deidre wanted to go.
Blake Shelton's tonight, though, and I'd love to go to that.
But
how about that?
Blake Shelton is... How much are those tickets for Blake Shelton?
I'm going to look. They went down. Like, nosebleed was $125.
nosebleed.
Wow.
$125 for a ticket. You know, that's my problem right now.
I could have stayed and watched Blake Shelton for free at Iowa Speedway last year had I just hung around.
Let me tell you something. The concert tickets are getting too extreme.
Oh, it's crazy.
They're too much money.
Crazy.
Why are they going up so much? You know,
because they don't make money off record sales.
That's true.
Well, you know what? One of the problems I have, it's like me and you. We went and saw Marcus King, right?
Yeah.
He was really
That was a
good.
great show.
It was really good. Anyway, we looked up tickets in Wichita, and if you want to be close to the stage, they're like $300.
Oh, my God. That's too much. I can't afford that. You know, racing boys aren't that rich.
No, we're on a budget.
But, you know, if I see a great concert like that Winona concert, I don't even remember what I paid for the ticket now. I had a great time. It doesn't matter to me at this point.
I think Kelly and I paid $138 a piece for our tickets.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
But that's a little extreme. And where were your tickets, Dee?
On the floor.
Yeah, we were.
On the floor?
I think we were floor 1, row 13.
That's about where I was,
He was
except
floor
on the other
3,
side.
row 11.
Yeah. Right.
But if you see a great concert,
Ryan
you walk out of there, you're not thinking a whole lot about how much you spent for the tickets, are you?
Ryan Ragland said, I remember seeing Hall & Oates for $12.50 in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, that doesn't date
Oh,
you, Ryan.
Yeah, I was thinking back, that Leonard Skinner concert.
Right.
That I keep telling you about in 1976 at Hilton Coliseum.
Kirk got
Ames.
to see the original Leonard Skinner.
I have no clue the amount of money that I spent on a ticket for that. I have no idea.
It couldn't have
what
been
I
over
spent.
$25.
Probably not.
No.
I have no. But can you imagine in 1976 what it might have been? It couldn't have been over $25, could it?
No, tickets weren't more than $25 back in those days. No.
Before my time.
Yeah, a little before Deidre's time. That was the year before Deidre was born.
But the bottom line is, when I go to a concert after it's over, I don't remember what I spent for it, unless it was a bad concert.
Do you ever buy T-shirts, Kurt?
No.
You don't wear T-shirts much, do you?
No, I don't normally buy the merchandise at a concert. You buy a lot of merch at the concerts?
I do. I try to buy because that's the way they make their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way racers make their money, too,
I
isn't it?
bought a Kentucky Headhunter shirt, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
It's no different than race. That's how the racers make their money, too, off the T-shirt sales, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, for sure. Marie says, hi, boys, getting ready to head home from Mechanicsburg. Rico is at the same hotel. He will be at Lincoln today. Are they going to get Lincoln in?
I think so. The weather forecast does not call for rain. It's going to be a little bit on the cool side tonight. They're going to start earlier, which is a good call. I think they're going to have hot laps at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon at Lincoln Speedway, and they'll get it in and get it over early tonight, which is a good call. But I actually think they're going to get it in tonight.
Oh, good. Frog said that he paid $5 at Cowtown in the early 70s.
$5.
$5.
You think about.
But remember, Kirk, back in the day when pit passes were $8? Do you remember that?
Sure. $5.
Yeah. Well, they were $8 down at Riverside.
They stapled the little ticket on your T-shirt.
I still have one of my. I've got my first pit pass from Riverside Stadium from 1975, and it's still got the staple in it.
Yeah, they did that at the track I grew up at.
They stapled them on your shirt?
Stapled it on your T-shirt.
Isn't that something?
That's the way it was at Riverside Stadium,
Dixie
right?
Castor used to put them on there.
Dixie, I love seeing Dixie a couple of weeks ago at the Hall of Fame banquet. She looks great. Dixie there representing her late husband.
Larry Castor, just so you know, is one of my all-time favorite track promoters ever. There's just something about Larry. Larry had the thing about Larry is that
he had a leadership quality about him.
He could chew your ass out, and the next week you didn't think nothing of it.
Because everybody respected Larry.
He was just one of the great promoters in our area.
They trusted Larry and they respected him.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's a big quality.
That was a sad day when we heard of Larry's passing. Yeah.
But, when it comes down to it, race promoters have their credibility and their integrity to sell more than anything else. If you don't have integrity and credibility, if you're a promoter, track operator, head of a sanctioning body, whatever, you're doomed. You got nothing left.
Right. Hey, Deidre, Steve just said that Marcus King will be at Kansas at Starlight Theater, but they haven't started selling those tickets yet, have they?
No, I couldn't find them for sale. Maybe they did now. That was a couple days ago. Let me see.
Marcus King, Steve, just so you know, Marcus King is one of my favorite musicians right now. Kirk and I went and saw him. He'd never seen him before, right?
No, that's first time.
Right.
And he was good.
He was damn good. Man, that guy can play a guitar, can't he?
No doubt about it.
Holy shit.
He kind of reminded me a little bit of Chris Stapleton in a little way. I think Chris is a better singer than Marcus King, but his actions, mannerisms, just kind of way he
cowboy hat, the whole thing.
Kind of reminded me of Chris Stapleton a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's good.
Well, their voices are different, but Chris Stapleton is a better singer.
Yeah.
And Marcus King is a better guitar player.
I saw Chris Stapleton down here at Arrowhead Stadium last summer, and, man, he put on a great show.
Yeah.
He was terrific. And then what about the job that Stapleton did on the national anthem at the Super Bowl?
And that was great, yeah. The Super Bowl was better.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. All right, Kirk. So, what are we gonna?
We got the Lee Spencer interview.
You want to run that right now?
Yeah, sure. We talked to her on Monday. She was out at Phoenix. She made the whole Western swing. She was at all the races out there: Fontana, Las Vegas, and Phoenix. I think she's going to be at Atlanta this weekend. But give us a little bit of coverage on that race at Phoenix Raceway last week, where William Byron won his second straight after it looked like Kyle Larson was going to get it done, and then it looked like Kevin Harvick was going to get it done. But William Byron outdid them all, especially on that last restart. And
two in a row, right?
Deidre, if you've got that interview lined up, let's go ahead and hear from Lee Spencer, wrap up from last weekend at Phoenix and look ahead to Atlanta this weekend. This was an interview that we had on Mostly Motorsports on Monday. Let's hear some of it.
Were you out at Phoenix yesterday?
Mics are out.
I was. We just got back to L.A. We're flying out of Ontario in 2 hours, so we loading up the tank and getting ready to drop the car off and jump on the plane.
Before we get into Cup racing, what did you think about that Jade Avedisian beating T-Mez the other night?
Oh, that was amazing. It was really cool because Lynn St. James gave her a shout out when she was in the media center yesterday, and she mentioned Jade, she mentioned Kaylee, and she keeps an eye on the girls that are getting things done all across motorsports. And, for Jade to do what she did at that track, DeCoyne's a tough little track, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you think that she might have a chance now that she's driving for Keith Kunz to win that championship?
Oh, absolutely. She's in the best equipment in the garage. And, certainly with the kind of backing and support that she'll get from Keith and Pete Willoughby, the sky's the limit for Jade. And I really think, Toyota has proven time and again how much that they support the female racers in addition to everything else. And it's just a matter of getting these girls the opportunity to do, to do what they need to do, to be able to showcase their talent, to build consistency. I mean, I've talked to Keith a lot about, how are we going to find the next female girl to get to the next level,
right?
Or the female racer to get to the next level. And he goes, we have to have consistency. And, if you can't build consistency at Keith Kunz in USAC, you're not going to do that anywhere. And so I think she's at the right place at the right time in her career.
I think she was a little apologetic for when they got together there down in turn 1 and 2. T-Mez the night before, he roughed her up a little bit. She shouldn't apologize for that, should she?
Well, no. I mean, you want to get along with the people on the track because, drivers have a long memory and they're going to race you hard. And you have a couple of run-ins with somebody, your number's at the top of mind, right? And so it's better to have people on your good side than, having to be adversaries. I mean, you're competitive enough because you're going against these guys on a weekly basis, right? But you can be competitors and not necessarily have it be an adversarial type of situation. And so I think if you go out there and you play nice with others, I'm not going to say it's going to make it easier to pass them, but, guys can make it, and I mean guys as drivers can make it really difficult on you on a regular basis.
Well, I to be honest with you, when I watched T-Mez the other night, on Saturday night, he was kind of roughing up some people a little bit. He was kind of...
That's what T-Mez does, right? And, I mean, she showed on Friday night that she had equipment capable of being up front, and so... for her to close the deal on Saturday, I think it just spoke to the value, the amount of talent that she has and the potential she has in these midgets.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So William Byron picks up the win, two wins in a row. Did you think Kyle Larson was going to win that race at one point?
Oh, absolutely. I thought I had my Kevin Harvick lead written when I went to the pits with 15 laps remaining. And so, all of a sudden I get outside and boom, the caution, comes out and can't see the big screen from where I'm at. And, then I find out Harrison Burton spun on the backstretch and, just more fun and games ensued. I was standing right at Kyle Larson's pits, for the restarts. And when he got out first, I really thought, well, Larson has this in hand. He had the fastest car in practice, had the fastest car in qualifying. He had the fastest car, led, over 200 laps. And so, you expect him to be able to get a great launch and pull off the win. And I think he underestimated William a little bit. He tried to crowd him on the backstretch, get him up towards the wall, get him in the marbles, get him a little loose. It didn't work. Willie's done his homework. His crew chief's done his homework. The pit crew was spot on. And for 2 weeks in a row, he's out-dueled Larson. And I think that speaks volumes. And I will tell you something. William came in there yesterday and he said, Kyle's the most talented kid the most talented driver in the field. So it's kind of like the B student. If you want to make the honor roll, you're damn well better work harder because you may not be the brightest, you may not be the best, but if you put in the work and the effort, you can be there on race day. And I think that has served William Byron well.
Do you think Tyler Reddick really shoved him to the lead Do you think was the
Williams
ultimate factor?
told me that push absolutely helped him on the backstretch.
Right.
And it's. I was just listening to Tyler Reddick, and he said that his car did not handle well around Larson, and so I don't think he wanted to get into that kind of mess, and so where he was and what he was able to do and how he pulled it off, I thought was Reddick was disappointed when I talked to him on pit road. He really thought he had a better car, but baby steps, and this was a good run for him. It was a good run for Chase Briscoe. These guys have had a rough start to the season. For those two guys to be there at the end, I think it will really boost their confidence going into Atlanta, and that's going to be a crazy race. So, if you can go in there with a little bit of confidence and a little bit of bravado, it can help.
Lee, has NASCAR made the right moves on this new package, taking more downforce off the car? The real key to me is how well they're going to run at Richmond and Martinsville coming up. Are they headed in the right direction with this?
Well, we'll see. The drivers would still like a little more horsepower, but Reed and I got in that argument. He said that's never going to happen, and so. But I think if you took this package and gave them a little bit more horsepower, that they would be able to maneuver them. I mean, Christopher Bell, when he got done with practice the other night, he said he was able to pass and get around cars, but we did not see that to the full extent here over the weekend. You're hoping it's just it's something that will, like a temporary fix or something that they can at least give them a baseline and then work on it from there. But I'm kind of with the drivers, and I said this before. I thought the easiest fix would just give them more horsepower with the current package, but they want to handle this aerodynamically, so boys, have at it.
Yeah. So what is NASCAR going to do about the 400 cars with their hood louvers? What are they going to do there?
That's a really good question. I mean, they altered a piece that came from a manufacturer, and that's a no-no. So I saw, Jeff Gordon leading the charge with he and Jeff Andrews. They were talking to Mike Helton and Jim France yesterday in front of the NASCAR haulers. So we'll see what comes of it. I mean, other people have messed with parts that are factory parts, or come from manufacturers that are given out by NASCAR. In the past it's been huge fines, but from what I understood, the louvers, these latest louvers, and this is a completely different one from what they used last year, they were smooth on the top, rough in the bottom, which could cause some turbulence. So, they, from what I gathered, they had smoothed off the ridges at the bottom. And so, whether they did that for an aerodynamic advantage, whether they did to just fix the hole, because, it's kind of like getting a puzzle piece to fit, and you kind of have to, take an emery board or something to make it more smoother in there. That would probably be their argument. I'm not sure if anything nefarious happened there, but regardless, they monkeyed with a piece that, comes from a factory supplier, which is Dallara. And so it's going to be interesting to see what NASCAR decides to do.
Do you feel like the crew chiefs are going to get suspended for this?
I have no idea. Like I said, the ball's kind of in NASCAR's court. I'll be really interested to see what happens, because it's like I said, comes from a NASCAR supplier, and we were told last year that if you messed with something, that they were going to throw the gauntlet or lower the gauntlet, and so it's we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Hey, what happened on that wheel that came off Eric Almirola's car? He said that broke.
It just broke. It flat out broke, and they told him, and even the second time around, he had to back up on pit road, and they made him come back into the pits because it still wasn't right. And so then with the damage that he got from that, he broke the toe link, and so they had to fix that too. So rough couple of weeks for Eric Almirola. I bet he's happy to get back to the East Coast.
Yeah, no doubt.
And William Byron, who won last year's Atlanta race, William Byron. Got a chance to go for 3 in a row. He ran well there last year. He's got to be feeling really good about heading into Atlanta.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this team right now is just absolutely solid, from the driver to the pit crew, to the crew chief. I think that they're all, they're all working really hard to get there. And as I said earlier, when you're a B student, you have to work harder, and Williams putting in the effort. Jeff Gordon, who was in the media center yesterday, he made the comment that he came into the shop on the day after Christmas, and here was Rudy Fugle working away, and he said that kind of work ethic is going to pay off, and I think we're seeing that with the 24 team right now.
Any other update on Chase Elliott, how soon we could see him back in a race car?
Well, they had told us last week 4 to 6 weeks, so I'm thinking that that's somewhere, in the ballpark as to when he'll be back. He's been really good as far as giving help to Josh Berry. That's what Josh Berry told us in the media center, that he's been able to rely on Chase, and I think that has expedited the learning curve for Berry.
Do you think Rick Hendrick is mad at Chase for going out there and snowboarding and hurting his leg?
No, because these guys, they have to live their lives, and there's over the last few years. You guys remember when Casey Kane was there? He could never get a hall pass to go to a dirt track. Well, now they're all out doing, living their lives and having fun and being boys. And if you squash that, inner whatever that inner self is, or whatever gives you passion, if you got a boss that squashes that all the time, you're never going to thrive. And so I think that he just knows that that's just part of the dangers of being a kid. And Chase has skied all of his life, so he's not doing something stupid. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Bill retired the first time from NASCAR, they all moved out to Colorado, and so Chase grew up out there. This isn't, it was just a fluky thing. It's not something where he was taking crazy risk and put himself in that position. So I think you can look at what Josh Berry did, and the first week he was just kind of thrown to the wolves. The second week he had time to prepare, get in the sim, spend time with Alan and the crew, and I think that pulling off that top 10 in his second start with Hendrick was a hellacious task for him, and I think he did well.
They're granting Chase Elliott a waiver. Is there ever a circumstance where NASCAR would not grant a waiver if a driver is not able to drive?
Not to NASCAR's most popular driver.
Right. There you have it. That's Lee Spencer.
And we talked to her before all the penalties came out by NASCAR.
Right.
So that interview was Monday. And, since then, NASCAR released their penalties to Hendrick Motorsports and Colleague Racing. And, $100,000 for each team. Crew chiefs suspended for 4 weeks. All 4 teams.
All 4 teams.
100 playoff points, 100 points and 10 playoff points.
Right.
For each team. And
William Byron owes Tyler Reddick a big favor because he bumped him to the lead. Did you see that?
Yeah, there's no question that he got a help out of Tyler Reddick, who took on 4 tires along with Kevin Harvick. The others took on 2 tires.
That had to be double frustrating for Kyle Larson, who led over 201 laps.
Yeah. But what was he going to do? I don't know what else Larson could have done in that circumstance. He ran William Byron up into the loose stuff up in the first corner down there.
But Ryan Blaney was in front of him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he had.
No. What was it? Truex in front of him?
That was at Las Vegas the week before.
Oh,
where
yeah,
Martin Truex Jr., who didn't take on any tires at Las Vegas, started in front of Larson, held up Byron. But in that race, I thought Byron had the fastest car anyway. And he came out ahead of Larson on that last pit stop at Las Vegas, and that's what won him the race. Last week, Larson had the faster race car, I felt.
Yep.
But on the restart,
Tyler Reddick bumped him to the lead.
Larson ran Byron up into the loose stuff, and credit William Byron. He overcame that, and he got that boost from Tyler Reddick, and that's what won Byron his second straight race.
Yep, no doubt about it.
But do you think of anything that Larson could have done any better on that restart? I don't know what he could have else.
I think he was kind of blocked in. Yeah.
Well, he was still out on the front row on that restart at Phoenix. And Harvick would have won the race had no yellow flag come out because he'd had the lead at that point, and he passed Kyle Larson.
He ended up
on that
fifth.
last run, and he came in to take on 4 tires. And you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, aren't you, Scott? Because if you're the leader, the people behind you are going to do the opposite of what you do.
Right.
So if you're Rodney Childers, you're thinking, okay, if I come in, take on just 2 tires, everybody else is going to take on 4. You knew that was going to happen. Well, what happened was they took on 4 and everybody else took on 2. And you're a sitting duck out there if you're the leader a lot of times. Yellow flag comes out. I think Harvick had the race won had no yellow flags come out. And then when that yellow does come out, you know everybody's going to be coming in for tires. Then the question is, what's everybody going to do?
What are we going to do this weekend, Kirk? What races are we going to watch?
Atlanta on Sunday. That's it.
That's it.
Well, we got 2 races today. We've got the truck race at 1 o'clock this afternoon Central Time, Craftsman Truck Series, and then we got the Xfinity race at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we got those 2 events going on. And then tomorrow, the Cup race, what's that, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
That's all the racing we've got going on this weekend, my friend.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm looking around at Flow and Dirt Vision. Well, no, I take that back. World of Outlaws tonight at Lincoln Speedway.
At Lincoln.
That's
right,
it.
Right. John Wilson said he saw the Who at Pontiac Silverdome in 1979 for $11.
Oh, wow. That is incredible.
You know, we just looked up the tickets for Marcus King at Starlight Theater, and if you're close to the stage, it's $1,700.
Oh my God! What's the cheapest ticket?
Who would pay that much?
I certainly wouldn't even think about paying that much money. You and I liked Marcus King. I thought it was a great show. We went out there about a year ago.
Yeah.
Where was that? The Uptown?
Yeah, we saw him at Uptown Theater.
We were in the balcony.
Yeah.
But it was a good view.
I think we only paid like $30-some for those tickets.
Is that what those tickets were?
Or 60 maybe.
You got them.
Yeah.
You had to say, hey, let's go. So we went.
Right.
You paid $30 and now they're wanting $1,700.
Right. Tyler Childers is going to be with him on that night. Tyler Childers is really good. Man, he's a really good singer.
I'll go back down there to the Knuckleheads. The tickets can't be that expensive there, can they? What do they normally charge for events?
The
at
most
the
you ever see for tickets down at Knuckleheads is probably $50-$60.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets up into the $200, $300, $400 range, that's a little bit too rich for my blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it'd have to be somebody of legendary status, of where, you know, okay, Paul McCartney comes to town. You want to see Paul McCartney in concert?
For me personally,
I might think about
it. For me personally, it would have to be somebody. In order to pay $1,700 for a ticket, it would have to be like Led Zeppelin for me.
Yeah, somebody like that. where, okay, this might be the last chance you'll ever see these guys.
Is John Paul Jones still alive?
I don't know. Robert Plant, he's still alive, right?
Yeah. Robert Plant's alive. Jimmy Page is alive.
Jimmy Page, Robert Plant.
John Bonham's son is still alive.
So if they made an announcement that Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin are coming to town, I might fork over a few dollars for that.
I would pay a lot of money to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Robert Plant doesn't want to play Led Zeppelin anymore because it's too taxing on his voice.
But say, what if? Okay, we're going to go out and do this farewell tour, and this is Led Zeppelin, the last time you're ever going to see it. And Robert Plant decides, okay, this is it. And Jimmy Page, we're bringing the old boys back together here for Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
How much money would you spend? I'd spend a good fair amount of dollars for that.
I would spend whatever it takes to go see him.
Yeah.
It might be in the nosebleed section, but I would go see him. You know, I saw the Jackson 5 at Arrowhead.
You did?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, back before he was
the
Thriller.
Jackson 5.
Before the Thriller days.
Yeah.
The highest amount of money I ever spent for a concert, I think, is the Eagles. When they made that farewell tour and everybody thought, well, that's it. You know, this is one and only time you're ever going to see the Eagles in concert.
Right.
And I spent, I don't know, $250 to sit in the upper deck at T-Mobile Center. And you had Glenn Fry and Don Henley and Joe Walsh and the whole
pretty
crew
good.
there. It was great. But it'd have to be somebody at that status for me to fork over a lot of money for.
You wouldn't spend that much money on Head East.
Are they still together?
I don't know if they're still together or not. But you've seen Head East, haven't you?
I have. They opened up for Leonard Skinner at that time.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. That concert I told you about.
Was Marshall Tucker Band there?
No, but I saw the Marshall Tucker Band in a separate concert up there back in those
The
days.
last time I saw the Marshall Tucker Band, they only had one original member in it, and all he did was just jump around on the stage and dance and didn't do much. And to be honest with you, I was so disappointed because they didn't play the songs the way the records sound. You know, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. When I go to a concert, I want them to play it to the note. I don't want them to freelance and just play whatever they want.
What it sounds like on the record.
I want them to play it like they play it on the record.
I saw Aerosmith as a backup band one time. Did I ever tell you about that? They were the backup band.
Who was?
Aerosmith.
To what? Who?
To Rush. They had Aerosmith and Rush.
Well, Rush
performed.
was a pretty big deal in their day.
But Aerosmith was the backup band. Think about that.
Pete just chimed in. He said Washington racer J.J. Hickle is moving to Ohio to race for Sealing Motorsports, compete full-time with the Tesno All-Star Circuit of Champions.
Cool.
How about that?
He'll do well out there. JJ's a good guy.
Great guy, man.
He came out from the Pacific Northwest during the COVID year and ran that full series with the ASCS National Tour and did very well.
Hung out with him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's moved more up into the 410 ranks now. And who's he driving for?
Sealing Motorsports.
What car number would that be?
I don't know. What number is that, Pete? Can you give me a number on that one?
J.J. Hickle won the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial a couple of years ago in the
97
wing car.
97.
He's driving the 97 car this year.
Right.
Cool. And the full All-Star Tour.
Yeah.
Great. Be fun to see JJ out there.
Are you going to go down to King of America?
Not sure exactly what day. I'll be going to. We got Ryan Ragland's going to be down there reporting for us next weekend, and so he'll be down there for all 3 days. We'll see. We'll see what happens. here next weekend. But, yeah, I'd like to try to get down
That's
there.
one of the
Friday.
biggest USMTS races of the year around here, isn't it?
It is. And it's one of the crown jewel events on all of the USMTS Tour. And, again, as we said here earlier this hour, John Allen will be joining us on Mostly Motorsports on Monday to talk about
part of the
King
ownership
America.
group at 81 Speedway and Humboldt, right?
Humboldt Speedway is really advanced. You know, when the Whitworth family had that racetrack, they really put a lot of money into that track and really built it up into a first-rate facility. It's amazing the transformation that Humboldt Speedway has had over the years from just an old country dirt track to now a really high caliber racing facility that can stage a major event. And if you've never been to the King of America,
right,
you owe it yourself to get down there because the atmosphere of that event is special because it's so early in the season. Everybody's been cooped up all winter long,
right,
and you get a lot of cars congregated at that facility and high-caliber modified racers. Just the atmosphere around that whole racetrack, especially on Saturday night when they
Right.
run the final race, is pretty special. They got a good event going
Greg
on.
Wilson was driving that 97 car in the past. That's what Pete said.
Okay.
I wonder why Greg lost that ride. Pete, do you have any intake on that? Do you know what's
How old
going
is
on?
Greg?
I'm not sure.
I was thinking he was a little bit up there. Maybe he wanted to step out and not. Maybe it's Greg's decision. Who knows?
Well, that could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Check into that. But that's the first I've heard that JJ is going to be.
How about Wayne Johnson
going
going to run the
full-time.
Silver Crown car this year?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Full time.
I think he
Silver
wants to
Crown
run.
Series.
I think he wants to run pavement more than anything.
Just to do something different.
Right. Yeah.
Wayne is the type of guy that just likes to try different stuff. You know, he's been there, done that.
Well,
been
he's got a
around
car
long
owner
time.
that believes in him,
Yeah.
and Todd, you know, he really believes in him. And to be honest with you, whatever Wayne wants to do, that's what Todd wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've had a lot of success together, and Wayne is at the age now to where he just kind of wants to enjoy it. You know, he don't want to have to
He don't
feel
want
like
all-
he's
he don't want all
committed
the
to
pressure.
something.
He doesn't want all the pressure.
No, he's
Yeah.
had all the pressure before. He was supposed to go
Right.
out and have fun. If they don't feel like going racing one weekend, you're not going. You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
check the weather forecast out. We're not going to pull all the way out there for nothing. We'll just stay home.
Yeah.
You can't do that if you're tied into a major series. He got himself tied into last year when he said he wouldn't do that full ASCS National Tour.
Yeah.
He got, you know, he started off good. That's what happens if you start off great and you're leading the points, you're roped into it.
you get
Then
roped
you
into
feel
it,
like you
yeah.
got to do it. Wayne Johnson said before that all started, I don't really want to go out there and chase a points-paying deal, but that's exactly what ended up happening.
It didn't end up the way he wanted. He was hoping to win another championship.
But Blake Hahn had other ideas.
Right.
Now, Blake's going to go out and branch out and do some different things this year. He's not going to run
He's
for
going to run
the ASCS National
I think
Tour
he's going to
Championship.
run the first 5 ASCS National Tour races.
But what happens if he leads after 5 races? Okay, we're leading the way. Do you all of a sudden say, okay, I'm doing
No.
what I said I was going to do, back out and go 410 racing?
I don't think he'll do it.
Okay.
I think he wants to run quite a few of those high limit races.
I don't blame him.
I
And,
don't
you know,
either.
he did well in that 410 car last year.
He's a pretty good 410 racer.
He did.
Yeah.
The thing that really comes to mind is at Knoxville, he wasn't even able to qualify. They had an engine go bad in hot laps on his qualifying night, and they had to load up and come back on the Hard Knocks night to get himself back in the show. He ended up winning an Alphabet Soup race
I
that
think
night.
he won the D main.
Right.
Yeah.
But his whole nationals was killed when the engine went bad on his right at the hot laps of the qualifying night. So, but the other 410 races that Blake ran in last year, I thought he did pretty well.
He always was running up towards the front, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think they're wanting to try more of these events and travel around and do some things, and I don't blame them. You know, they won the 2 ASCS National Tour Championships. That was great, exciting the way they did all that. Now they're just wanting to branch out and try more things. I don't blame them.
Yeah. Well, Blake's a pretty good racer.
He is.
Yeah.
Knows how to win.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that if they focus more on the 410 stuff, that's going to help him even get better.
Yeah.
And a lot of these tracks he never raced at. Some of them in the 410 car.
Well, he just needs to get more 410 experience.
Yeah. You drive those cars different than a 360 car, right?
Well, momentum is about the 360 car.
Yeah.
You know, you can get yourself out of trouble with the 410 car. Yeah. Deidre just left.
So you and I are alone.
Right.
We got nobody running the show but you and me.
Right.
So we're just going to sit here and talk.
Nobody back there at all.
You're monitoring the Facebook page just to make sure we're still up.
We're still rolling.
So that might be the first time where it's just Scott and me. That's it.
Yeah.
Just you and me.
We've done this before, though, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Todd Surprise, who's normally here, is under the weather this morning, so we wish him...
We hope you feel better, Todd.
We wish him better.
Yeah.
So not a lot of racing to talk about. You know, I was wanting to talk more, and we talked about it on the Mostly Motorsports show on Monday, but Jade Abedisian
beating T-Maz.
Winning the race on Saturday night down at the Southern Illinois Center in Du Quoin. And beat T-Maz to get there. How about that race where T-Maz was going to check out. He was going to run away and hide in that race.
But he kind of roughed her up the night before, so
he did. And she was apologetic about the way she got around T-Maz.
She shouldn't have been.
She had no reason to be apologetic about that.
She had no reason to be apologetic.
And T-Maz got slowed up a little bit by the lap traffic. So Jade caught up to him, and she was hunting him down.
Yeah.
So he gets up into the loose stuff down in turn number 1.
And gets up in the muck.
Gets up into the muck and gets her sideways.
And she kind of pushed him up there a little bit.
She pushed him up there a little bit.
She has
didn't touch. I don't think they made contact.
I don't think they did either.
But she was able to get around him when he got sideways, and off she went. Very impressive the way she made that work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, that's not the last race she's going to win. She's got more coming.
T-Maz is kind of rugged, isn't he?
Yeah, but I like T-Maz.
Yeah, me too.
He's, the thing about Thomas Messerol is that he's just not afraid to say what's on his mind. And when he wins a race and crawls out of the car, there's no more fun post-race interview than Thomas Messerol. So he's fun to watch. He roughed her up on Friday night. He gets around her, and she apologizes in victory lane. That's not the way I want to race. And I thought, no, you have nothing to be ashamed of.
Not
Jade
one thing.
Abedisian.
Right.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Nothing. She's the best female racer right now, you think?
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what Kaylee Bryson does, especially in the Silver Crown car, where she
did
put
pretty
on a
good
show
last
year at Du Quoin.
Yeah.
And would have won that race had she not had some kind of mechanical failure there. So I think she's going to win a Silver Crown race this year. So between Jade and Kaylee Bryson, I think those are the two girls to watch.
Tyler Raymer, what do you think about her?
She's not at that level.
She's not
yet.
She's not there yet. Mm-mm.
I like Taylor, but she's just not quite at the level that Jade and Kaylee is. Will she get there? Sure. She might, and she's run up front and won a race or two, but she's also had some issues to where she's not quite closed out the deal. She'd have a good run going and then kind of fade there towards the end. But I like her style. I like her experience. She raced at Port City a lot, went to school at the University of Oklahoma, and got her degree. And she's put in the time in those cars and done the work, but I just don't think she's quite yet at the level of Jade and Kaylee.
No, I don't either. Eventually, maybe.
But when you're Jade Abdesian and Kaylee Bryson, out of 300 and how many entries at the Chili Bowl, and they both get qualified for the A-Main on Saturday night.
That was a big deal.
Yeah. And that's second year in a row for Kaylee Bryson.
Yeah. Jade did a pretty decent job as well.
Especially on the qualifying night, she finished just one spot out of getting transferred in on her qualifying night. She was driving for Chad Boat at that time.
Right.
She's now a KKM driver, but she finished third, one spot out of transferred, getting herself locked in, but she still came out of the B on Saturday night and made her way in there.
Looking forward to watching Lincoln tonight. Is that going to be on
Dirt Vision?
Dirt Vision, right?
It starts early. Remember, I think they start hot lapping about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was going to check the time on that, but they moved everything up earlier at Lincoln Speedway tonight because of the colder weather. So tune in early. I think they're going to get it in. I'm looking at the forecast. Partly cloudy conditions, going to be a little bit on the cool side. If you're heading out there, make sure you take plenty of coats and whatever winter gear you need because it's going to be a little chilly out there at Lincoln Speedway tonight, but I think they're going to get it in. Should be a good show.
I'm trying to find out what time they're going to start. They're going to start at 3:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time.
There you go.
3:45.
That's 4:45 Eastern Time at Lincoln Speed. They're on the Eastern Time zone. So here in our part of the world, you better tune in the middle of the afternoon because 3:45 Central Time is when the hot laps begin.
Right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the last race they had was at Volusia here, a couple of weeks ago?
To be honest with you, I was getting wore out on Volusia.
Yeah, I'm ready for
something
different racetracks. Yeah. They did have some good races at Volusia this year. I thought maybe they put a little bit too much water on the racetrack on that Sunday night show, the first of the two down there. It was better on Monday night, but a little bit too much one-lane racing at Volusia on the first night down there. Monday, a little bit better. David Gravel has 3 wins so far this year. Carson Macedo's won a race.
They're going to have 604 crate late models running tonight at Volusia. Did you know that?
Yeah, they're on their regular season schedule now, are they not? At Volusia?
Yeah. Let's see what's on flow tonight.
I was looking at the, we had Carson Macedo on the first hour. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Carson Macedo. It's very interesting his career, the way it's gone. He jumps in that 41 car after we lost Jason Johnson back in 2019.
Port City's supposed to race tonight.
For micros?
Yeah.
Port City, down by Tulsa.
Right.
I think they raced at Tulsa Raceway last night.
And they're running the STSS at Selinsgrove tonight. Did you know that?
Big half-mile racetrack. You've been there before?
I've been there, yeah.
The Tulsa Raceway, they had some modified races down there last night.
NASCAR weekly racing at South Boston, Virginia tonight as well on
Pavement race.
Flow racing.
South Boston Speedway. That was an old mainstay for the Xfinity Series, then known as the Busch Series back in the day.
The NMCA Muscle Car Mayhem is going to be running tonight in Orlando, Florida. Drag racing, right?
They had the Gator Nationals down there last weekend at Gainesville, Florida. Big crowd on hand. That's one of the biggest events of all of NHRA racing, the Gator Nationals, and they had a huge crowd down there last week.
Yeah.
And they had Mike Salinas winning the funny car championship down there, and it was Matt Hagan and Tony Stewart's funny car winning the funny car.
I got to believe that Port City is not going to race tonight.
What's forecast in Tulsa?
It's cold. It's not going to be good.
I'm going to be zeroed in on Tulsa tonight for the NCAA Wrestling Championships going on down there this weekend.
Let me see what Port City says.
Tulsa weather?
Port City Raceway.
They did get that show in at Tulsa Raceway last night. They had USRA Modifieds and B-Mods down there. Mike Hansen won the USRA Modified feature at Tulsa Raceway last night.
Well, they haven't canceled it yet. It doesn't look like. But somebody on there said, so glad, too cold for this old person. Thanks, Port City.
I was looking and see. Hank Brown won the USRA B-Mods at Tulsa Raceway, the new Tulsa Raceway last night. So they did get races in last night down there. We'll see what happens tonight.
Had to be colder than heck down there, didn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah. All right, Kirk, let's wrap it up here. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. We also want to thank our guests today on the show, Carson Macedo and Lee Spencer, for joining us here on Track Talk. Again, we've been doing this show for 25 years. Kirk's been with me 22 of those 25 years, or 23 of these 25 years. So can't thank Kirk for everything he does for us here at RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Want to thank Deidre for filling in for Todd today. And always my partner, Kirk Elliott. I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.